Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. We will be discussing actuators for packaging applications. My name is Sarah Manuel. I am the Product Marketing Manager for Norgren. So this is just going over some of the different applications that you will see in packaging and some of the different actuators, pneumatic and electric, that we offer that will help and aid in automation for those applications. So as some of the theme you'll see in our Pack Expo show and the booth that we have is the connected circuit. So there's several different products that go into making a complete pneumatic circuit, electric circuit, what have you. So in this presentation here, you'll see that we're discussing specifically the actuators. So this is one of the end effectors of the circuit that you'll see. It's the part that's doing the actuation and moving, along with all the other parts that go behind it that make everything happen. So some of the pneumatic actuators we're going to highlight today, we have our non-repairable round line, so the traditional Bembo original line cylinders. We have compact styles, NFPA, some rodless cylinders, rotary, linear thrusters, hole punch, washdown specific actuators that kind of cover different ranges, as well as position control. And we'll see that how all of these can work in different packaging applications. So depending on what you're looking for, it could be a similar application with different needs in different parts of that application, depending on what will fit or what your loads are and so on. So beginning with the non-repairable round line. So again, the original line cylinder. So this has been a product of Bembo for over 60 years. We have our standard original line cylinder. So this is just going to be your basic linear motion. So you can see these in something like a conveyor, labeling, holding work, or folding boxes, and so on. So the standard original line cylinder is going to give you anything in that linear back and forth motion. You can have a cylinder that uses air to extend and retract. You can have options for spring return or spring extend as well. And then we go on to the 3-position original line cylinder, which is going to have more functions. So for a very simple multi-position type of application, your 3-position gives you that 0 or home position, a mid position, and then a fully extended position. So it's repeatable every single time. It's a hard stop. There's 2 pistons inside the cylinder that will go to the same distance every single time. So for something, for example, in a conveyor where maybe you have 2 different size products that you would need to push down a conveyor, and you need to have a guide that's moving, you can use the 3-position cylinder to have a home position, and then it extend out to a mid position or the fully extended position based on what size you might need. The cushion cylinders, that's going to be something maybe for a little bit more high speed where you've got a lot of energy, and you would need something to slow the cylinder down at the end of travel. If things are moving really fast, you don't want to have a cylinder that's continuously hitting the end cap. So it can reduce noise a little bit, but really you're going to have something more like a bumper that would be reducing noise. So in a factory where you're having multiple cylinders running and you want to reduce noise for your workers, a cushion is an option to slow it down, and then a bumper is another option that you can do where maybe you just don't need to slow it down as much, but you do need to quiet it. And then we have the rod lock style cylinder, so that's shown at the bottom of the picture. So the rod lock style, that's going to be, those holding work. If you need to, hold the box in place or hold a product in place to package or move, then the rod lock, you would move the part into place. You would lock the rod to allow it to hold that part so the part can't move or shift, and then you can release the lock once you need to move that along its way. Our Z-line cylinder, so going back, we were talking about cushions. The Z-line cylinder is a heavy-duty cylinder in the sense that some of the dimensions are oversized for mounting, so it's going to handle a little bit more external forces, but it actually has a heavy-duty bumper in there, so it's going to be good for a little bit higher impact. Still not as good as a cushion, but definitely for a better impact, and then again, that noise dampening. So it's going to be really important, like I said, for applications where you have multiple cylinders pneumatic cylinders operating at the same time, especially when you have operators that are in the area that you would want to reduce the noise for them. And then we have non-rotating cylinders. So this is a very simple design where it has a square rod so that it can hold something in place. For example, if you need to align a label on a box and you want to make sure that the label goes on straight every single time, the non-rotating cylinder is going to be able to hold whatever fixture you have, and it won't rotate like your standard cylinders have the potential to because of the round rod. So the non-rotating cylinders will have a square rod to eliminate that rotation. So moving on to the compact cylinders. So there's a couple different styles here. The compact cylinders can form various functions that many other standard cylinders would perform as well, but these are going to be the ones where you really need to get into some tight spaces. So, underneath a conveyor where there's limited space, where you've got a lot of moving parts or a lot of components coming together in a machine, and you have some really tight spaces where you need to get some actuation, and this is where the flat cylinders are really going to come in handy. Again, they can kind of be used anywhere. Let's see here, we've got conveyors, labeling, aligning, tight spaces, labeling and aligning. Again, similar to the original line cylinders, not non-rotating, we do have some non-rotating functions as well in the compact cylinders. So the flat 2, for example, that has a twin rod, so that will keep the rod from moving. And then shown here in the middle of the screen is our extruded flat 2. So you can see that has a tooling plate. The extruded flat 2 is a little bit of a bonus too because it actually has Delrin bushings in that help to align the guide rods and allow for a little bit of side load or moment loading. So anything that might have a little bit of misalignment or load, an extruded flat cylinder with the tooling plate on the end would be a good option. And then another low profile design in a different way is the twin bore. So it's got 2 smaller bore sizes that are next to each other in the same extrusion to give you, more force that you might need, but still can fit into that small space. Like I said, maybe it's, between 2 rails, or it's underneath a conveyor belt. These are going to get into those tight spaces. And then if you need something, again, that's, compact, but you have some moment or loading capabilities, the twin bore air table shown here in the picture, that has a ball bearing rail that runs along the top underneath this table. So that's going to give you that support you need. And then, but while you still have the additional force from the 2 bores that are connected to each other, and then still a relatively low profile design by keeping the smaller bore sizes next to each other. And then moving on to NFPA cylinders. So just a couple that we have highlighted here, the TA series and the PA series from Bimba. So these are going to be your tried and true NFPA, easily interchangeable cylinders. So the TA series is going to be more of your option rich. That's the tie rod style that you see shown here at the top of the page. So that has your tie rods. It has several different options and styles available. And then the PA series, that is going to be more of your streamline options. So it's one of the other advantages of the PA series is our auto cushioning system. So that is a cushion option where you basically set it and forget it. So you don't have to actually go in, make your adjustments, and do a lot of testing to get the right cushion adjustment. You put your cylinder into the application and it will auto adjust to the application. As long as it you're not as long as you don't have a significantly high amount of kinetic energy, this is a great option to be able to put into an application where you need that cushion, you need that deceleration at the end of travel, and it'll just automatically do it. There's a special design on the cushion to allow the air to slowly dissipate as it gets to the end and kind of have a feel for the amount of energy that is happening on the cylinder, so that it will adjust for that as it moves to the end and be able to cushion the right amount. whatever your application may be. So just listed here, we've got a couple examples, slide gates, diverters, but really, again, there's several, just like the original line or the compact cylinders, there's several different areas. These are basic linear motion, extend, retract type of units that can be used in a multitude of applications, but these are typically going to be, you have your larger bore sizes. The TA series starts at a 1.5 inch bore, can go up to a 12-inch bore in certain designs. The PA series is more limited, 1.5 inches up to a 4-inch bore. But again, that one's an extrusion, so there's a little bit more of a streamlined design to it where you can also put switches straight into the body. So advantages to both in the applications. The PA series, another advantage is that it's more of a low-cost unit, so that so it can be used more widely in OEM type applications where you'd want to have a lot of cylinders and cost might be an issue. So moving on to the rodless cylinders. So we have the Lintra series, the Norgren Lintra. That is a band style cylinder. So it's a mechanically coupled unit where the piston on the inside is physically connected to the carriage on the outside. And there are special mechanisms. Back up. So there are special mechanisms inside the carriage and piston assembly that allow the band to pass through the cylinder as it actuates back and forth. So this is going to be a very this is going to be more of a dust tight type of unit where you have your sealing strip that acts as a zipper, and the cover strip on top protects that from any debris or anything like that might be present in the application. Say you're moving cardboard boxes, things like that. You have a lot of cardboard dust in the area. So this is going to be something that even though there's the seal is separating, that's completely contained inside. So externally everything is sealed. Then you also have the Ultran series of rodless cylinders. So these ones are a magnetically coupled type of unit where you have your magnet inside the piston and a magnet on the carriage as well that keep the two connected. So then as the air is pushing the piston back and forth, the carriage is coming along for the ride. So these type of cylinders are really good for several applications within packaging, most notably cutting. So you can have an Ultran or a Lintra cylinder mounted above your product that might be passing through, and the carriage just swipes back and forth, has a blade attached and can cut any type of material. So one of the pictures here kind of shows it cutting, paper, if you need plastic, cardboard, whatever, it could be any type of packaging material. And then that can just pass through. So that's gonna be able to hold the weight of whatever is on there, plus the additional friction or load that is created by the cutting motion or the resistance of the cutting as well. So any of these styles, depending on what your setup is, could be a good fit for that. So the Lintra is going to have that mechanical coupling. So that's going to be harder. That's going to just keep pushing through. It's not going to come apart. Versus the magnetically coupled ones, which have the magnets in there. So you're limited to your forces or the loads based on whatever the coupling strength is of the magnet. But for example, in opening or closing doors, you can have the magnetically coupled units opening or closing doors, sliding it back and forth. But say something comes into contact with the door, something gets stuck in the door. You wouldn't want something to continue to push and continue to apply force or pressure on there because, it could be a product that you don't want to damage, or it could be a person that maybe their hand or foot got stuck in the way. So then that way the cylinder would decouple, the magnets would come apart if a certain amount of force is exceeded, and then the door would stop to move. So it would stop to apply pressure or force against whatever is in the way. So benefits to both depending on what you're trying to do with the application. But yeah, these are some of the most frequently used applications, or most frequent applications that these cylinders would be used for. So you can also do transferring products, so maybe moving from one conveyor to another. Again, you have multiple different options based on different loads, speeds. The Lynchra cylinders come with cushion design. The Ultran cylinders, you can get those with externally mounted shock absorbers. You have a model that is unguided here, so kind of free floating. You can attach that to any product, and if you have your own guide system that you want to use to be able to move, you can use that. Otherwise, we have the Ultran Slide and the Ultran High Load models, which have built-in guides to give you that load and moment capability. And then with the high load has a base plate for extra stability as well, and a ball bearing set up so that it has a nice smooth motion. So lots of different ways that the rodless cylinders are really beneficial to packaging applications. Moving on to the rotary actuators. So again, several different options here and ways rotary actuators can be beneficial to packaging applications. So you have your basic turning. You can also do indexing. So while the rotary actuators themselves don't physically index, they are rack and pinion style, so they will turn back and forth. But you could still set up an indexing application with external components as well. And, where you would rotate the cylinder, have it come back, and it could rotate and continue to index. Or maybe we need to design a custom. We've done those as well before if you need some type of indexing motion to keep it going at certain increments. We also have 3-position versions of the new turn rotary actuators. So those, just similarly to the original line 3-position, those have multiple pistons. So you kind of have a 0 position, a mid position, and then a fully extender, in this case, fully rotated position. So we have the 3-position available, and all of these are available in either a single or double rack. So more or less torque depending on the application. And then the rotary also offers a position feedback design. So where there's a potentiometer mounted onto the back of the cylinder to sense the feedback or sense the position of the actuator, and allow you to actually control what the rotation is as well, to be able to get multiple stops along the full rotation of the cylinder. We also have our MHRQ series, which is a table style. So you can see it's a tabletop where your part could sit on and rotate back and forth that way. So it's a little bit more low profile with the extrusion too, and so you're able to mount switches onto there. So just another style to offer flexibility, maybe something that might need to fit in a little bit tighter space. Then we have our small bore solid body, and also a tie rod rotary actuator that's going to be a little bit more heavy duty with the tie rods holding the end caps in. So again, several different ways that the rotary actuators could be used for your packaging needs. So again, transferring, so rotating products from one side to another, or maybe even clamping if you need to clamp or hold a part down, and then unloading or opening, closing. So if you have maybe a hopper of material that you need something to open a valve at the bottom to allow material to unload, or if you're looking to dump a product or something like that, you'll be able to use a rotary actuator as well to move a gate or something that to be able to open up the bottom and release your product. The linear thruster is another great product for packaging, specifically for conveyors or something requiring a lot of load or maybe some side load. So as you can see, these actuators all come with some type of built-in guides. We have a couple of different styles. We have our TE series, which uses a composite bearing, and then our T series, which uses a ball bearing. So the T series is going to have that more precise movement and less friction, but they're not really good for dusty environments because of the ball bearings. So that's where the TE series would be more functional for that. You're going to get some higher side load or higher moment load capabilities, but it's going to be better for those dusty environments. The composite bearings are not as affected by external contaminants like the ball bearings would be. We also have the extruded body thruster. So similar to something like a twin bore, or like what we saw with the rotary tables, the MHRQ series. It has that low profile extrusion, so the cylinder is built into the body, but then so are the guides as well to give you that flexibility to fit it into smaller spaces. And then if you need something really heavy duty, the T4 series is going to be able to handle that. That has 4 guide shafts, as you can see in the picture down in the bottom right here. And so that's going to have a lot more load capabilities than your standard T series. So that is a ball bearing model as well, but with the 4 guide shafts gives you a larger moment capacity. So again, really specific applications would be more like conveyors or stops. So these are going to have that ability to, take a side load or take a moment on there without affecting the cylinder itself. The guide rods and the bearings are taking the brunt of the application so that the pneumatic cylinder that's inside in the middle is not affected at all by whatever might be happening in the application. Then we have the hole punch cylinder. So the Bimba hole punch cylinder is really designed almost exclusively for packaging. So you can see some of the pictures here. So any type of product that needs to go on some type of hanging display, right? So you go to the store, you see all the bags of candy hanging on the wall. So these hole punch cylinders are perfect for that because you can punch a hole in the top of the bag. It can go at a high rate of speed. Do thousands of bags an hour and have them ready to go. And or if you need to have multiple perforations in a sheet of plastic, the hole punch cylinders have a small profile so they can all be lined up next to each other. These are all made from a 3/4 inch bore, and they have an 1/8 inch NPT port on the back. So that allows for maximum flow into the cylinder. So it's a pretty large port to cylinder bore size ratio, allowing for a lot of flow, and more flow means more speed. So the materials of these are also rated for higher speed. So the rod guide, the front of the end cap of the cylinder is a strengthened steel so that it can withstand high impact. There is a special lubricated bumper on the inside as well to keep the rod lubricated, everything functioning properly for high speed, high cycle applications. And then you have your choice of cutter options. We start our smallest cutter size as a 1/4 inch, and we have options available all the way up to a 5/8 inch, as well as a unit that has a no cutter option if you need to add your own. And one of the benefits of this hole punch design is that the rod is actually hollow, so that instead of the material getting clogged in the punch, it gets pushed out or gets blown out by the air coming through the rod. So it's a really neat design. Like I said, really high speed, high cycle applications are going to benefit from something like the hole punch cylinder. And I just wanted to highlight some of the cylinders. These can kind of go in different areas, but specifically wash down applications. So if you're packaging for, food and beverage, or some type of application that requires a chemical wash down, your standard cylinders are not going to hold up to that very well with the ingress and just material compatibility. So we have designs that are made from all stainless steel. So we have the original line style cylinder. We have our flat one style cylinder that actually has an IP69K rating for washdown as well. So that is not only is it compact and small, but it has a great washdown rating and can withstand a lot in terms of chemicals and ingress. And then we also have our stainless steel series and the NFPA cylinders. And then the picture down here in the bottom left, that is our PC series. So that is a stainless steel body, rod, and then plastic end cap. So again, some options for chemical compatibility. Plus, outside of actuators, we have tons of accessories and things like that that are made from stainless steel as well. And basically any actuator that you can look at, if it's not standard as a stainless steel, there are possibilities to either do special coatings or make the products, the components themselves from washdown compatible materials as well. And then another important product for packaging, we talk about, I mentioned before, with the 3-position cylinder. So this is kind of the next level beyond a 3-position cylinder. So, with packaging today, you're looking to be efficient, but you're also looking to be flexible. So you might have multiple different products that are coming down the same conveyor or in the same application, and you need to be able to account for that. So a position control cylinder is kind of that in between from just a purely mechanical 3-position or multi-position cylinder, but not quite as high tech as an electric actuator. So you're still going to get some accuracy. These cylinders have a probe inside that will give a feedback along any point of the travel, so that you can either receive feedback. So for something where you might need to weigh or measure a product, based on how far it moves or how big it actually is, if it hits or doesn't hit a certain area, you can actually measure or weigh products with a position feedback cylinder. Or if you just need to move something to a specific position, for example, if you need to move rails on a conveyor to be able to guide or fit a certain product, the position feedback is easy, where you can put in a program that you can move to and say, okay, well, now I need to move to this position, I need to move to that position, any of these positions along the way. And the SPCS2 servo pneumatic control system, that is the valve that operates these cylinders. So that valve is going to, once you have that set up, it's a pretty easy setup with the software right off of our website. You are able to then calibrate that and send signals to the valve, send information to the valve to be able to operate these cylinders. And like I said, you can either get feedback on the position that they're at, something very simple, or you can tell the cylinders where you need to go based on what product it is that you might have to measure or move. So next step above position control is the electric actuators. So the position control cylinders, that is still a pneumatic solution with position feedback. If you need to get more accurate or more control with your actuator, then we're going into the realm of electric actuators. So there are quite a few different ways that electric actuators can be beneficial to packaging applications, and we have a few options that I wanted to go over today. So starting with the legacy Bimba electric series. So some examples that I have shown here is the B80 or B110 series. So this is a belt-driven actuator. So similar to what we saw in the rodless cylinders before, the B80 is going to be a similar solution, just an electric version of that. So you need to cut a product, cam following, this is going to allow you to do that. The electric actuator too, whereas a pneumatic actuator would have, you would most likely want your product to stop and keep going. An electric actuator is going to be sophisticated enough to cut material that is potentially moving down a conveyor, and you can cut it as it moves versus having it stop, measure a certain distance, and go from there. An electric actuator, you can have you can have those set up so that it actually cuts as the product moves. The TRP series, that's this actuator shown in the middle here. A great application for that is high-speed labeling. So that's something for the packaging industry that this would be a great option for, to be able to use an electric actuator, get that smart accuracy and positioning, and very high-speed labeling. I also have the IntelliAccess T-Bot shown below. So that's going to be, you're going to have your multi-axis movement in an electric actuator. So, great for palletizing. I mean, any of these are great for diverting or sorting, and then as well as product dispensing. So, needing to open or close a gate as well. So several options within just the legacy Bimba electric series. Similarly, we have the new Norgren Eleon series. So that is going to have your rod style and a rodless version available as well. So the legacy Bimba electric actuator, you're going to have a high configurability and very high loads and thrusts versus an Eleon series, which is that more streamlined option. So similar to how we have the TA series, tons of options, all the bells and whistles. The Eleon and the PA series is more streamlined. The Eleon series is more streamlined, makes it more simple for your customer to pick out applications, yet very high functioning as well, high accuracy, and that position control that you would need in an electric actuator. So we have the rodless style, so similar to like the Lintra series or the pneumatic rodless or a belt style actuator. The Eleon series is going to be that cost-effective version of an electric actuator or electric band style actuator. And then we also have a rod style electric actuator, so if you need that traditional push and pull movement as well. So several advantages here for the packaging industry to be able to use to index parts. So, especially with the rod style, you can, go in specific increments to index, or if you need to, center or align components, again, labeling, something like that. The rodless style, automated door opening, so you can have that flexibility to open doors not only at a specific time, but at a specific rate or distance. And then high-speed sorting and even ingredient mixing. So electric actuators can be used in several different areas. And then finally, we have the compact guided electric. So these designs, if you look at them, they kind of look very similar to our pneumatic actuators with a motor on the back. So these are going to be those small compact actuators, but with the benefit of the electric and having that control and accuracy. So, a lot of times when you think of an electric actuator, you might think of something that's going to be big, bulky, and difficult to fit. So that's where the compact guided electric actuators. Then we talk about conveyors and stops and gates. There's not a lot of places to be able to put things to make stuff move. So these compact actuators are going to be a great addition. And then plus on top of that, 3 out of the 4 designs come with some type of non-rotational capacity or a side load or moment loading capabilities as well. So you can see here that the top is based off of our top unit is just the standard rod style based off of our standard extruded flat extrusion. So you have that nice compact design, and then we also have a style here that has a tooling plate on the end to, again, give you that non-rotating, but also give you a surface to have more flexibility for what you mount onto the end of the unit as well. And then we have the EET series, which is the electric extruded thruster, and the NPET series, which is the narrow profile electric thruster. So again, several applications they can be used in any other way that any other type of electric actuator can be used as well, but these are going to have that advantage of being small and fitting into tight spaces. In the example I have shown in the bottom here, this is a pick and place application utilizing 3 different compact electric actuators. And you can see something like this, you know, that would normally take up a lot of space with a traditional electric actuator can really fit right on a desktop to be able to do a pick and place application in small confined spaces. And then once you look at all of those and you say, you know, I still have some really unique applications that I'm not sure if those products will fit the bill, we have the ability to customize anything that you could possibly look at in our catalog. So if you're looking for something special, you're looking for something unique for your packaging application, whether it's a glue dispenser or a bottle filler, you can contact your local Norgren or Bimber representative to work through what the solution might look like for that. So at this time, I will conclude the session. So thank you all for joining, and hope that was helpful. So I know there is some the availability to put some questions in the chat box. Other than that, I hope you all enjoy your day and have a good one. Thank you so much.